Wow guys, it's official. Yesterday, for the first time in my life, I realized I am now a millionaire. And it feels really weird to say those words and hear them come out of my mouth because I've dreamed of this moment for so long. But seriously, for the first time ever in my life, I'm a millionaire, and I can actually say that I am a self-made millionaire. Pretty crazy. I got this graph pulled up here of my net worth so you guys can see, what I was. Back in 2017, I had a net worth. There was one point, 2018, I had a negative net worth for a second there. I think I had some student loans. Pretty crazy, man, just to see that. But this graph just goes to speak for itself. There were some times in there where, dropshipping gave me some money, but I was always, spending a little too much and assuming stuff had to continue when it didn't. Facebook ads deactivated, stuff like that. It made it very difficult for my net worth to climb. But you can see right here, I started trading, and the rest is just history, man. I mean, just absolutely insane. And today my net worth is over $1 million. So this app right here is called Mint. I do have it pulled up here so you guys can see what it looks like. It syncs all your credit card information. You can sync all your bank accounts, and you can track your net worth over time. So I highly recommend doing this if you are, on a similar journey as me, trying to get up to that millionaire status or beyond, because it's really cool to be able to look back and see what you were at a certain point in the past. You can add accounts manually, so like if you have a house that's worth X amount of money, you can subtract the difference from your mortgage and you can add that manually. I actually had to do that here because two of my brokerage accounts don't sync, but I have them under property. My Speed Trader and my Cobra, they actually don't sync with Mint, but you can sync stuff like Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, all that good stuff. So very, very helpful. And I just wanted to throw this video out here just to talk about how I was able to get to this point, starting from very little, man. I wasn't gifted $1 million. It didn't fall into my lap. I had to work really hard for this, and I want to talk to you guys about how I was able to do that, because it's been quite the journey, man. And although I made pretty much all of this money in the last year, you can see on that graph, it really has been my entire life in the making. And that's something that a lot of people might not understand. If they see someone who's a millionaire who made it in a year, they might assume, oh, they're this overnight success and it came super easy to them. That is not the case with me at all, guys. I had to work really hard for this, and there were a lot of times where I had a ton of self-doubt. And I want to make this video to talk about, I guess, kind of the main guiding principles that allowed me to get to this point. So if you're new to my channel, or even if you're not new to my channel, you may or may not have seen this video that I made where I basically talk about, and this was actually before I had any success with trading whatsoever. So you can see my net worth, back at that point still wasn't super great. But you can see this is from the middle of 2020, and at this point, I'd had some success with dropshipping, but I hadn't had nearly the success that I've had recently with trading. And at this point, I was talking about how grateful I was to be an entrepreneur and be at the point where I'm responsible for my own destiny, because I always growing up thought that the key to being a millionaire was getting good grades, going to a good college, getting a good job, good 9-to-5 job, whatever, making $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year, saving up, maybe investing some in the stock market, and eventually after a decade or 2 decades, whatever, I would hit $1 million, and it was gonna be this glorious thing, and it was gonna change my life forever. Because again, growing up, I really didn't have much money at all. So when I was rejected and I got all these rejection emails, I gotta play this real quick. Just so you guys can see, all of these are screenshots of rejection emails I received from jobs. Pretty crazy. And it's an example, man, of all the rejections where, you've worked your whole life for something and then it doesn't pan out. And that was super frustrating for me at the time. I can remember still, how that felt. But fortunately, that pushed me in the direction of where I currently am. And, there were a lot of people in my life who pushed me along the right path. And I'm super grateful for all of them, everyone who's helped me out on my entrepreneurial journey, everyone who's helped me get to this millionaire status. When I say self-made millionaire, I don't mean that I did it all on my own and that, nobody else has any responsibility or had any impact in my journey. That is not true at all. I was helped along the way by so many people, and I'm very grateful to all my mentors, all my friends who have been there for me along the way. But man, it's pretty crazy to be at this point, guys. And I think the biggest thing that I could say to you is that to get to this point, you really have to be wired differently than the average person. And that's something that the average person is not going to understand. The average person who is watching this video, probably you, I'm talking to you who's watching this video, you're probably not on the same level mentally. And I think that is probably one of the biggest differences. I feel like to be super successful, you have to become obsessed with success. That kind of rhymes, but it's true. And if you're not thinking about something every waking hour, it's not the type of thing where you're gonna put in the hours to be successful. And I wanna elaborate on that a little bit. So for me, success is so important in my life. And getting to this point that I'm at now where I'm a millionaire, it has been so important in my life that it consumes my every waking thought. And whatever I'm doing to try to achieve that goal, whether it was drop shipping, testing products, testing out new ad sets, all that stuff, dealing with customers, building websites, whatever it may be, or now that I'm in trading, looking up stocks, developing new strategies, doing research on the statistics, going over past charts, taking screenshots of them, putting them in a database, all that stuff. It consumes my every waking thought. There's not a time where I'm completely zoned out. I'm playing video games. I'm at the club, doing whatever, and I'm completely zoned out. I'm not thinking about it. There's never a time in my life where I'm just not thinking about success. And because of that, I think my mind is always working at new ways to achieve that success. And because I'm so obsessed with it, I put the hours in that most people do not. And I think that's been a deciding factor. So if you think about it, a couple extra hours a day goes a really long way over the course of a year. You add that up. 365 days in a year. If I'm constantly thinking about something, right? If I'm constantly thinking about trading and you're only thinking about trading, for 6 hours, 6.5 hours when the market's open, but I'm thinking about it for 12 hours a day, call the difference there, call it 5 hours, right? 5 times 365, that is 1,800 hours more that I've spent thinking about the same thing. And because of that, I'm putting the work in when most of you guys are probably not. And I'm not here to say that every single one of you is a lazy person. That's definitely not true. I'm sure there's some of you guys out there who work very, very hard. But there's different levels to this stuff. And I think most people overestimate how much effort they're putting in, which is a dangerous thing because you might be thinking that you're doing everything that you can do when in reality, you're not. And you're not obsessed with it, and you're not putting in the time. My most recent trade, the one where I made $90,000, actually $93,000 in like 2 hours, that was more than my entire net worth was a year ago. A year ago, my net worth was $60-something thousand, and now I'm at the point where I can make that in a couple of hours if there's a great opportunity. I mean, that's pretty insane, man. And I think a lot of people don't understand the concept of scalability, which is something that I've also been very focused on. So if you're wanting to build a millionaire status, you want to put your time into learning skills that other people either won't take the time to learn or that other people try to learn, but they don't put in enough effort and they fail. Because those are the types of skills that if you are able to master them, they will set you so far ahead of the competition that your life is just going to look completely different from the average person. And again, to elaborate on that a little bit, trading is the type of thing where if you dabble in it and you try to mess around, you're probably going to lose money. The average person probably thinks it's impossible to make money day trading. And the reason for that is it's so difficult for the average person to get obsessed with it, to keep putting in the hours even if they're not seeing results, to get to the point where they're actually making money from it. But I personally would rather work for years and years without seeing any results if I know that at some point in the future I could make $90,000 in an hour when most people make it in a year, if that. You know what I'm saying? So like, you got to figure out what that is for you. It might be trading, it could be trading, but there's lots of other things that it could be like that for. If you want to build a massive company, There's people out there who they make a ridiculous amount of money on their companies, and their company didn't make anything for the first 5 or 10 years. But it's ultimately about that scalability. So if you're willing to sacrifice and put in the time and energy to learn an extremely valuable skill that nobody else is willing to put in the time and energy to learn, you are going to be setting yourself up for success in the future because no one else is willing to do that. So when you finally master that, each hour of your time is going to be worth so much more than it would have been otherwise. Like my trajectory, I could have been doing data entry. I could have been an analyst at some bank making $50,000 a year, $70,000 a year, man. I literally made that in like 2 hours. And I'm so much more happy doing what I'm doing now because I have the freedom and I'm in charge of my life. And if I want to put in the extra hours to make it work and I want to work all night long, I'm doing that because I chose to do it and it's something I'm passionate about, not because some evil boss is telling me that I have to do it because he's going to fire me otherwise and I'm not going to have any way of putting food on the table. So I would say if you guys want to be a millionaire someday and you're not currently, put the time in and focus on those skills that are scalable and extremely difficult that you're probably going to fail at for a long time. It could be years. But once you get to the point where you're good at those skills, your time is going to be so much more valuable than it was before. Why not put in a couple of years without making anything to be at the point where you can make $10,000 an hour? I know I would rather do that because I would rather live an exceptional life, or at least take a gamble to live an exceptional life. Take the risk that I fail and I don't make anything instead of living my entire life knowing maybe if I'd gone for this, I could have been something incredible, but I decided to lead a normal life because I was too scared to put myself on the line. So that's the message that I want to give you guys in this video. If you want to learn stocks, definitely check out some of my other videos because I teach this stuff and I got a lot of really helpful free stuff for you guys to watch in terms of how I've been able to take my accounts from literally nothing to $1 million, man. So if you want to learn, definitely check out some of my other videos. I got a lot of good stuff. And best of luck to you guys. Seriously. If you're in a position where you're doubting yourself right now, you're wondering, man, I hear what this guy's saying, but can I really do it? You can. You can. You just have to believe in yourself. And you have to never, ever, ever give up. Because I remember what it felt like, guys. Seriously, I was a 14-year-old kid. I had no money, and I wanted more than anything to be successful. But I had no idea if I could make it happen. If I had known what I know now, that if I worked every single day and never gave up, that I would get there, I would feel a lot better. So just know, if you actually put in the work and you never give up, you will get there and you'll get to this point. So that's it, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, let's grow better together. Bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.